here, we have absolutely no idea what we should or could expect. Are we really about to do this? Are we really about to sit in all of discomfort? But what I came here to do the work. Healing is quite confronting, the process. You're having to unpack traumatic and painful and very uncomfortable events. You will never be able to find peace in being someone else. You can only find real peace by being your real self. What is the false identity?
It's a journey worth traveling, your space for raw conversations and soulful insights around life's journey. Let's explore.
So let me go ahead and just recap what happened in part 1. It is the start of this 5-month adventure. We get to Bangkok, Thailand, where we are starting it all off. And I am so incredibly excited because what's happening over in Thailand is Songkran. That's the Thai New Year. And it is all about renewal and newness. And that is what this next chapter is about. And also, the way they celebrate Songkran is with these amazing water festivities. In fact, the largest water festival, the largest water fight in the world goes down in Bangkok. Y'all, I am ready to get wet. I am so excited. Only to find out that, nope, Songkran, the activities, is all government banned. I mean, who knew 2 years later it was still gonna be banned? I am so incredibly hurt. I'm distraught. But I said, you know what, Kat? Let's try to make some lemonade out of these sour-ass lemons you were just given. So I decided to book a long-tail boat excursion around Bangkok, only to be lied to and dropped off in the middle of God knows where. Y'all, this was the first 48 hours. I think we can agree that Bangkok was on some bull. He was doing your girl dirty. So I said, you know what? We're going to circle back when you know how to treat us right. Luckily, my travel agent, Kathy, she planted a seed in me. She said, Kat, you cannot go to Thailand and not go to Koh Samui. And let me tell you, I am so glad that I listened to her because she ain't never lie. We get to Koh Samui, and not only are we met with just so much beauty, but it's just blessing after blessing. I loved Koh Samui. I found so much peace in this unplanned part of the trip. I was having so much fun in Koh Samui. I did not want to leave. But we have our first pre-planned activity in Koh Phangan. It is this yoga retreat. So we have to say goodbye to Koh Samui. In an effort to maximize every moment, though, I said, I'm gonna book the last ferry possible of the night headed over to Koh Phangan. I'm on this ferry headed to Koh Phangan, and it is packed. I mean, it is after 10 o'clock at night, and all these people on this ferry, it's like hundreds of them. They have on these colorful outfits. They look like they are getting ready to turn up. And I'm like, where are all these people going? Now, when I was over in Koh Samui, there were a couple people, they asked me, like, are you going to the full moon party? I was like, no, I'm going to a yoga retreat. But now I'm wondering, like, are all these people going to a full moon party? And what is a full moon party? Well, a full moon party is kind of what it sounds like. It is a party that happens monthly in Koh Phangan when the moon is full. And let me tell you, it goes down. And it goes down with the 3 Ds: dancing, drinking, and drugs. Now, at the time, I didn't know very much about Koh Phangan. All I knew is that it was an island and I had a retreat there. But what I would come to find out is, you know that song by T.I., You Can Have Whatever You Like. Yeah, That one. I mean, that has to be Koh Phangan's theme song. Because, honey, here, you can have whatever. You looking for some yoga, a wellness retreat, some sex, some drugs, some rock and roll. You can find it here in the Phang. We get to Koh Phangan. All those hundreds of people go do their thing. And me, I head off to the retreat. Now, let me give you a little bit of backstory on this retreat. It's all inclusive. So my accommodations, my food, my activities, everything is sorted. I found this particular retreat online. And what got me to click buy is it said words like peaceful, harmony, healing. It's like, okay, like that's what I'm looking for, right? I did do my research. And on the website, they had some pictures of what the accommodations were going to look like. These little pictures, but from what I can see, everything looks pretty copacetic. But we get to the property. Woo! Honey, y'all remember when we got to Koh Samui and we got to the Conrad, we were met with the panoramic views of the Gulf of Thailand. It sat on this hillside. It was stunning. It was picturesque. Not here. Cats, you are in the jungle. I meet the retreat leader, and he is walking me to my villa. And it looks a lot different than the last villa. It wasn't that it was horrible, but it was definitely different. I would best describe it as like a college apartment turned villa, just without the roommates. Or so I thought. I get in the room and I am unpacking my things. And as I'm unpacking all my things, I see something black and round dart across the floor. And so I immediately shift my attention, but it is gone. Now look, J. Crew, I have astigmatism, but I know I just saw something move across the floor. So I scan the room, and when I get to the wall, there is this 6-inch brown lizard crawling down the wall. And I said, oh no, not today. I go immediately and get the retreat leader, and I let him know there are some uninvited roommates up in my room. He gets the groundskeeper, and we go back into the room. The groundskeeper, y'all, he got on this flashlight helmet and a broom. Like, he looking like he is ready to go to work. But when we get back into the room, the lizard is nowhere in sight. Y'all know how fast them lizards be. He's looking for the lizard. He cannot find him. But remember, originally, he was on the wall. And on the wall is this picture. So he goes to remove the picture, and here comes this lizard darting down the wall. I said, there it is. There it is. He grabs the lizard, and he takes the lizard out of the room. Whew. One down, one more to go. Because what I originally saw was black and round. So I let him know, I think we got another uninvited roommate up in this room. And I am going to need you to please keep looking. He looks under the chair. He pulls back the refrigerator. Nothing. My bed is over there. And so I say, you know what? Do you mind looking in my bed? Because what I'm not going to be doing is sleeping in no bed with no creepy crawlers. He looks underneath the bed. He pulls back the covers. Still nothing. Y'all, I know at this point, they probably think like, she is crazy. But I know what I saw. So I plead with him to keep looking. Finally, he pulls back the couch. And here comes this black round beetle charging out. I said, that sucker goes. I knew I wasn't crazy. This beetle, y'all, it is so big. It is the biggest beetle I have ever seen in my life. This beetle, like, this isn't even the kind of beetle that you can step on, because this beetle is so big, he will bite your ass back. The groundskeeper had to sweep this beetle out of the room. He does a final check, and he tells me, I think we got everything. And I said, well, I sure do. I sure do hope so. Now I am cautiously, sitting on this bed. And y'all, here come them voices. And the voices is saying, Cat, you want to go back to Koh Phangan? You know, it is only a ferry ride away. And we know what we can expect over there. It is peace, blessings, and beauty. Here we have absolutely no idea what we should or could expect. I said, no. We came here to fill up our cup in Koh Phangan with some healing, some peace, and some harmony. And we can't just let a couple critters, even though they were some big ass critters, we can't let them make us fold. We gotta get what we came here for. But that unexpectedness, I don't know if unexpectedness is a word, but it's gonna be one today. It was the running theme in Koh Phangan. J. Crew, if you are enjoying this trip and you have not already, I would love for you to like and subscribe so that you never miss a trip and we can continue to grow our community. Now, back to this trip. The next day, I meet my retreat mates, Colleen and Fanny, and they are these amazing young French women. And let me just say, it is something so refreshing to be able to meet women that are like on the same trajectory as you. Right? These women, like, not only were they looking for some healing and some peace, but they were also looking to have some fun. And God knows what you be needing before you know what you need. He knew I was going to need these girls to be able to have a little fun with after the activities we would do. Every single day, we would go to the yoga center for these scheduled activities. Now, what was originally advertised to me was activities such as yoga, meditation, breath work. I mean, doesn't that sound so peaceful, right? I know. However, what I was met with was some different type of activities. Some activities such as TRE, deshielding, rebirthing, neural mapping, just to name a few. We did do some coloring and some yoga. And that was nice. But them other activities, way more intense. Honestly, I am still trying to unpack the shit that happened up in Koh Phangan. But what I will say about the activities is that it made me be more open because it had me sitting in a lot of emotional discomfort. A lot. I remember when I was met with one of my first activities, and I'm sitting on the yoga mats, but we are not doing anything remotely like yoga. We are doing something called TRE, trauma release exercises. The facilitator is explaining to us what TRE is, and I'm going to tell you what it is. Originally, I was like, you know what? Let me just try to summarize this for J. Crew. But then I said, I'm going to go ahead and get my little Andrew Huberman on and give you a scientific excerpt. So, TRE, it is tension and trauma release exercises. And these are exercises that help the body release deeply held stress, tension, and trauma. Trauma could be defined as any stressful experience that overwhelms our capacity to cope and results in lasting negative impacts. When we experience a traumatic event, our brain alerts the sympathetic nervous system, thrusting us into this state of fight or flight. This natural stress response causes several physiological symptoms. A growing number of experts in the field of trauma research believe that unprocessed trauma can get stuck in the body where it continues to aggravate physical and emotional problems. TRE uses stretching techniques that trigger involuntary muscle tremors and shaking. These tremors can help people release pent-up stress and trauma stored in the muscles that can interfere with the autonomic nervous system's ability to function and regulate itself. So, in short, when we experience these traumatic events, not only are we impacted emotionally, but we're also impacted physically. And that physical impact is stored in the body. So TRE takes us through these exercises that literally gets our body into a shaking state and shakes the trauma out. Yep, that's TRE. And I made it probably a lot more intense than it had to be because this was not a requirement. However, while I was sitting there shaking, I said, we're going to think about the traumatic events, the uncomfortable events, the painful events that you are trying to shake out. So it was a lot. But now how I even got to that point of let's do this, because I had to ask myself, Kat, are we really about to do this? Are we really about to sit in all of this discomfort? But what I came to was you came here to do the work. And I know you didn't expect for it to show up like this right now, right here. But that's life, right? Like how many times have you thought that something was going to show up one way and it ends up showing up like a completely different way? And when it's showing up in this very unexpected way, we got to ask ourselves, like, if I entertain this, is it still going to give me the same outcome or perhaps an even better outcome? And for me, yes, I did believe that in doing this and sitting in this discomfort that I was going to reach a better space of healing. And that is the thing about healing. Like healing absolutely makes you sit in a whole bunch of discomfort, right? Because healing is quite confronting, the process. You're having to unpack traumatic and painful and very uncomfortable events. And as much as I would like to be able to just like go around the work in order to be able to get to the healing, that's not how it works. We got to work through the work in order to get on the other side of the healing. And so, yep, I did the work and I sat in all of that discomfort. Now, there were also some activities that I chose not to participate in. And not because I didn't want to do the work, but because they didn't personally align with me. But even in saying no, like it was not easy at all. It was quite uncomfortable because I just didn't want to come off as offending anyone. However, that no allowed for me to flex another type of muscle because this trip for me was not only about filling up my cup, but I also said, Kat, this is an opportunity for us to like really just distill some things out of your life. One of those things being the false identity. Now, what is the false identity? The false identity is anything that takes us away from our authentic self. And we're showing up as someone that is not our true self. And I think one of the ways in which or why we show up as someone else instead of ourselves is because we're worried about the perception of other people. And I don't know if you can relate to that, where you may have been in a situation and you chose to shrink yourself because you were worried about what someone else was going to think. And so for me, that false identity, like I didn't want no more parts of her. I wanted to completely take this opportunity to like say goodbye to her. And when I was met with these particular activities, it wasn't so much that I was even worried about what people were going to think if I said no. Again, I just did not want to come off as being rude or offensive. If you could imagine a situation like this, let's say you were going down to Cuba. You're staying with a family, they don't know you, you don't know them. But in Cuban spirit, they want to cook you a welcome dinner. And so the grandmother, she has been in the kitchen slaving over this dinner for hours. And when she brings out the food, she brings out this large pork roast, these charred grilled lamb chops, butterflied fish, some fresh ceviche, and it all looks so amazing. But here is the thing. You are a vegetarian. Yep, you are a vegetarian. You can't eat none of this shit. And you feel so bad because you know that this was absolutely a labor of love. But you can't eat it. You don't align with it. And now you gotta let them know. And so when I was trying to figure out how I was going to break it to them, I was met with a couple of options. I could have tried to figure out like how I could maybe participate in this without compromising myself. Or B, come up with an excuse. I'm not feeling well. I overslept. Or C, just let them know. Respectfully, these may be your methods of healing, but for me, I just don't personally align with them. So I am not going to be able to participate. Now, had I did anything other than option C, I would not have been standing in my full truth. Had I made up any kind of like excuse or anything like that would not have been me showing up as my authentic self. And when we don't show up as our full, true self, not only are we adding to the false identity, but we are also just doing such a huge disservice to ourselves. And we are interrupting our inner peace. And look, we can't interrupt the inner peace. We got all these other external things trying to come for our peace. We can't self-sabotage like that. But that is what we're doing every time we don't show up as our true and full selves. Because you will never be able to find peace in being someone else. You can only find real peace by being your real self. Every single one of these activities, even the ones that I chose not to do because how I was able to handle it, it got me to a better space of healing. This yoga retreat, with all of its unexpectedness, it still allowed for me to fill up my cup and get the peace, the healing, and the harmony that I was looking for. Koh Phangan is a place that will have you up in a trance, okay? I met so many people, J. Crew, that they thought that they were only going to be in Koh Phangan for maybe like 3-4 days. Unexpectedly, 3-4 years later, they are still in Koh Phangan. And that's because like there's so much appeal there. There's so much freedom there. Freedom to do whatever you want to do, be whoever you want to be. And that freedom brings people a lot of peace. What Koh Phangan did for me, it gave me an opportunity to better know and grow within myself. And that gave me a lot of peace. I'm not going to lie, your girl probably could have got caught up in that Koh Phangan trance. I probably would have stayed longer. But Luckily for me, my dad has decided to spend his birthday in Thailand, so I have to go meet my family in Phuket. Koh Phangan, thank you for everything that you extended to me. It has been real, but peace out. In Koh Phangan, I have found some peace in the unexpected, peace in the discomfort, and peace in continuously being my authentic self. J. Crew, here are some of the souvenirs I would love for you to take with you. Accept the unexpected, because in the unexpected, it contains so much value. Value that will strengthen you, that will grow you if we let it. And you know what else will strengthen and grow us? Sitting up in that discomfort. And I don't know if anybody has ever told you, but you are worth sitting in the discomfort. And I know sitting in the discomfort it's not easy. But how many times have we come short of the outcome? How many times have we just missed the outcome because we didn't want to sit in the discomfort? How many times have we not maximized a moment? I mean, it could be something as simple as we go to the gym and we choose not to sit in the discomfort of all them squats. So we don't maximize the workout. Or it could be something more substantial, like having a conversation with your best friend or your significant other that's open and you being vulnerable, and you don't want to sit in the discomfort that comes with that conversation. Or maybe even someone asks you, a colleague, a friend, wants you to share your story, but you don't want to sit in the discomfort of public speaking. When we're in these spaces where we are faced with this discomfort, we need to ask ourselves, if I sit in this, is it going to grow me? Is it going to stretch me? Is it going to allow for me to be a better version of myself? And if the answer is yes, then it is worth sitting in the discomfort, and you are worth sitting in that discomfort. And last but not least, life is constantly making us choose between the false identity and our authenticity. And I just want to continue to encourage you to always, always choose your authenticity, because you are enough. You are more than enough. So show up in these spaces and be you. Show up in these spaces and do you, because there ain't nothing like the real thing, baby. And in a world where got a lot of fakeness going on, your authenticity, it is not only going to cut through, but it is going to shine through. And if somebody can't accept your realness, you know what? Fuck them. Yep, that's what we going. They don't deserve to be in your space. They don't deserve your time. They don't deserve your energy. Do you. Be you. You owe that to yourself. You deserve that for yourself. And I look forward to continuously showing up in these spaces with y'all on this journey as our authentic selves. Thank you for taking this trip to Koh Phangan with your girl. I truly enjoyed sharing my experiences with you. And look, if you've ever been to Koh Phangan, put it in the comments below, like what your experience was like, or just send me a message. I want to know, because it's interesting over there in the Phang, right? Oh, and before I forget, in the description box below is a link to a document that has what I like to call some intentional travel journal prompts. And it's a whole bunch of questions, or it's not a whole bunch, it's like 10 questions, 10, 11 questions that will get you thinking about how to be more intentional within your next trip. And I wanted to create this so that when you are out here exploring the world, you are also thinking about how to explore more of yourself. Now, I did run some of these questions by my sister, and she was like, oh, these are also good for just like life journal prompts. I said, okay, well, I'll let the crew know. So whether you are traveling or you just want some good life prompts, I hope that these questions can be that for you. Oh, and did I mention it is for the free? It is completely free. I just want to continuously make sure that we are maximizing every moment in any way that I can support that. That is what I am here to do. Give me your feedback on them. If you think we should add some more questions, let me know. We can add it. That is what we are all here to do. Just be additive to the community. Be additive to one another. And as always, J. Crew, please remember that your journey, it is absolutely worth traveling. I look forward to our next trip. And until then, peace and blessings.